Graduated high school as a brown kid in rural Pennsylvania. And
That's right.
Yeah,
and there was
with us.
Yeah, man. And there was I was not going to go to Harrisburg Area Community College. I know that my guidance counselor, for everybody who remembers guidance counselors, are they still a thing? I don't know if high schoolers still have
they
guidance.
still have them.
Yeah,
I hope they're less worthless than they were when we were kids.
I went to Cedar Crest. Do you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
I was just in Lebanon
Were you?
just like 2 weeks ago. Did you know Carlisle, Pennsylvania is now a cool place?
Carlisle's a cool place. What? When?
Time to go back for a visit, right? Yeah.
Carlisle, PA?
Yeah, right?
That used to just be nothing. Just a bunch of nothing.
So I was a brown kid in rural Pennsylvania without any hope of like going anywhere special, and my parents didn't have any money saved up, and it was very clear that they were like, you're going to join the military or you're going to get a job, or you're getting the hell out of the house.
Huh? At 18, you're out, right?
Right. So they've been telling me that since I was like 16. So about 16 and a half, 17 years old, I was like, man, I got to figure something out. And that was when I realized there's this thing called service academies. I had a good GPA in high school, and I didn't realize how positive affirmative action was on my side at the time, because it was 1996 or whatever, whenever I made the decision. And that's why I just started applying to the military academies: West Point, Naval Academy, Coast Guard Academy, Air Force Academy, and then Air Force Academy got back to me. And that was when I was like, yep, let's go do the thing, because I'm getting the hell out of here and I'm not staying with my parents.
Nope.
Yeah.
And what are some of the requirements or tests that they put you through for you to be, the pilot?
Yeah, so to get into the Air Force Academy, I had to go through like a physical exam. My grades had to be assessed. I had to get sponsorship from a congressperson or a senator.
Really?
Yeah, so that's really where things got kind of hinky for me, because anybody can write a report. Anybody can write an essay. Anybody can talk about, why they would sacrifice their life to protect their country and write about American freedom. But it's totally different when you've got, 200 people in the state trying to get 2 spots from one senator. And that's where I found myself. So I got lucky, man. I was a busboy in a golf, like a golf club, not a cafe. What are those things called? Like a
diner?
Yeah.
Like a diner?
Like
they don't even have them anymore.
Like a restaurant at a golf club.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that the congressperson for our district played golf on that golf course.
Oh, the clubhouse, right?
The clubhouse. Yeah, thanks, man.
Okay. Yeah.
So then the manager, the general manager for the clubhouse, was like, hey, you're trying to get into one of the academies, and don't you need a congressperson? I was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. And he was like, well, he's eating lunch right over there. Why don't you just go say hello? So that was literally how it started. And I went over there and introduced myself, looking and smelling like recycled food. Anybody who's worked in the restaurant business knows exactly what I'm talking about. That smell, that greasy, weird
My
food
grandparents
smell.
had a restaurant, and when they would come over, you could smell them for days. It never left their pores, I don't think.
Yep. So, shook hands, gave high fives, and then, 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks later, the guy sees me a few times. He's like, are you still trying to get in? Are you still going to make it? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying. And I just got accepted to this thing, and I just submitted my report for that. And eventually he was like, well, why don't you talk to my secretary and let's see if we can't get you in for an interview. And then I got the interview and I got the sponsorship. So it worked out well.
Now, going in, do they torture you at all to get into the Air Force?
Yeah, the Air Force Academy has what's called a plebe year. It's a zoomy year for us, a plebe year for the Naval Academy.
That just sounds bad.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's a year of pain.
Give me an example. Give me a couple of things that they did to you.
So you've got
His face. He's thinking he's
I'm
like,
reliving
"No."
it, man. So you're 18.
Look, he's looking away.
You're 18 years old, and you've only got one free day of the month to go be social. Every other day you're doing some kind of drill or some kind of chore. So whether that's polishing shoes or like folding laundry or dusting the top of every mirror. It's ridiculous stuff. And then every afternoon after class, you go through what's called a training session. And training sessions are basically physical workouts where you're outnumbered by upperclassmen and they're all doing the workout with you. So like one guy sits down, he's like, get down here and do push-ups. And then you do push-ups with that guy. And then another guy comes and relieves him, but nobody relieves you. So then you're like, I just did my push-ups. And the next guy's like, now you're doing them with me. And then they just beat you, dude. It's mental and physical just destruction.
What was the worst thing they did?
So the worst thing came
for you.
The worst thing came for me during this thing called Recognition Week. So it's the last week of the end of your year, right before you prove that you have what it takes.
Are you counting down those last 7 days?
Dude, you're counting them down like you would not
by
believe.
the second.
We tell ourselves that we can do anything for 7 days. By the end of it, when that Recognition Week starts, you're like, I can stand on my head for 7 days. I don't care what they're going to do to me for 7 days. Right? They can kick me in the balls every day, every minute for 7 days. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and graduate. That's what I'm gonna do. So they took my whole squadron out. We did this. It was oh man, it was the winter, so it was like November, October of 2002. No, 2099, and they took us out into the snow because we're in Colorado in the mountains in the Rockies. And then they made us all go through these low crawl exercises in the snow.
And what's low crawl?
You're belly down, right? And you're crawling through like 12 inches of snow. And that wouldn't be bad, except that you're doing it for hours. And you're always behind someone else. So all that body warmth just turns the snow into sludge and wet mud. And you're just caking it all over yourself. And they roll you on your back. And then you're doing it with your mock M16, and you're rolling on the back.
You got a mock M16
oh, yeah,
on you too.
because they can't give us a real one. Yeah. It's going to end real quick if they give us
I bet it's the same weight though, right?
Yeah,
as
exactly.
you're sliding.
So we do all this garbage, and then they put us through like these mental exercises where we're reciting knowledge and doing these things that we memorized, and you're just sitting there freezing. Like you can feel the hypothermia setting in, and they're just waiting for you to bail out because hypothermia is setting in. So they're just sitting there, standing there. And you're standing there at attention. The wind is screaming, and they're bundled up in all their Arctic gear.
Yeah, they're good. They got the cup of coffee and the hot chocolate.
So this one kid, his name was Clayton. What was his first name? James? I think it was Jim. Jim Clayton was like a star, like an all-star performer in our squadron. Really awesome kid, like skinny Mormon kid, but tough as nails. And he started shaking, like that scary kind of shaking where you're like, that can't be real. Right? He had gone hypothermic and his whole body was shaking. And then just like a tree, like a log in the forest, he just tipped over and just fell flat down on the ground. And then everybody lost their shit because they were like, oh my gosh, we actually may have just killed this kid. So they like drag him out and they get us all back into like the warmth of the building or whatever. And the EMTs come and Clayton was fine.
Did
like
you,
I said,
did you thank Clayton? I would have thanked him. I'd be like, you got us the fuck out of there.
But what ended up happening was a switch flipped in my head where I was like, that dude's awesome. And every one of these other guys that put us through this, they are total assholes. I was like, well, this didn't teach me shit. This didn't teach me anything about leadership. This doesn't teach me how to be a better soldier. This doesn't teach me anything except how bad ideas are in groupthink. And here's 18 idiots who just about killed the highest performing person in the squadron. If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip or here to see the full podcast episode.
Freedom! So fresh, so new.